I will be recording the 15-minute video while I'm driving to save time. Hopefully, YouTube's auto captioning function will generate an accurate subtitle for me. I will speak louder. I want to talk about David Hume's problem of induction. David Hume was a writer, philosopher, statesman, or maybe even theologian, I'm not too sure, in 16th century. He was from England and English. I must first forewarn you, this problem of induction, it is going to be very binary. It's insanely boring, or even just lunatic for some type of people, and it is going to be highly irrelevant and great for another type of people. If you have been quite lucky for your entire life thus far, and if you are predestined to will not meet any calamity in the rest of your life, then this problem of induction is going to be enormously obsolete for you. It's just nonsense. In fact, it feels like conspiracy theory. You might think that I'm mad. However, if you have encountered some atrocious calamity in your life, or you are predestined to will meet some atrocity in the rest of your life, then this problem is highly irrelevant for you. In fact, by knowing it will help you to probably evade a lot of unlucky incidents. What is problem of induction? Then we have to first ask, what is induction? This word appears a lot in physics, especially about electricity. Michael Faraday used induction to generate electricity, but this physics induction is not related to David Hume's induction. However, in mathematics world, the mathematicians often use induction. Often use a method called proof by induction to prove theorems and equations and conjectures. Hence, the mathematicians actually know this very well. Induction comes from the word induce. When you are using proof by induction method, what you are doing is you first look at one or two specific instances. You confirm that, you be very sure of that, then you extrapolate to a general instance and you form a general conclusion. I'm not too good in mathematics. In fact, I often find proof by induction examples in mathematics very esoteric. Most of them I can't really understand, but I will give one no-brainer example. In basic arithmetic, we know when you add two even numbers, you always get back an even number as a result. For example, you add 4 and 8, you get 12. 4 and 8 are both even numbers. 12 itself is an even number. So this specific example confirms the general conjecture. The conjecture is when you add even to even, you always get back even. Alright, so this is one specific example, 4 plus 8. But how can we be sure this general rule, even plus even, you always get back even? How can we be sure this general rule applies to every single number, every single even number in the universe? How can we be sure? One very imbecile way is to trial and error at every single even number in the universe and see the result. You confirm a million times, a billion times, and then you try to get evidence. We have no time for that, and obviously people believe that there must be smarter way for this, and in fact there is. What do? We use induction. We first think, what are the specific instances? We have 10 single digits. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Among these 10 digits, there are 5 even digits, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 0. We don't have to try and error every single number in the universe. We just have to try and error these 5 even digits. So we try 2 plus 8, you get 10. Yes, it confirms our hypothesis. And then we add 6 plus 0, you get 6. Again, it confirms the hypothesis, and so on. All these specific instances, I think it's less than 20. After forming all these specific instances, you can now extrapolate and conclude, every single even number in the universe will follow the rule of even plus even, you always get back even. Why? Because every single even number in the universe must have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, these 5 digits at the end. Alright? This is a classic example of induction in mathematics. However, David Hume actually was not interested in this. In fact, he was interested in the real-life application of induction outside of mathematics. That is where things become interesting. One obvious example in real life is even a 3-year-old toddler knows the sun always rises from the east and always sets at the west. How do we know? We treat it as an axiomatic truth without any doubt. But how do we know? Obviously, we affirm by observation, using our naked eyes, using compass. We saw it yesterday. We have been seeing this sun's behavior for the past 1,000 years. And therefore, we extrapolate and we conclude for the next 1,000, million, and billion years, the sun will still behave the same. But actually, if we really question it with more rigor, we will start to ask, actually there's no 100% evidence the sun will still behave the same for the next million years. We don't really know. So we just extrapolate using induction. It is slightly shakier than mathematics, because mathematics is a mental game. You have axioms. Among axioms, so long as you prove that it follows the axioms, then you have proof to be beyond reasonable doubt. But in physics and in real world, things tend to be slightly shakier, slightly precarious. But not only that, because even the sun's example seems to be quite mundane, most people aren't interested in the sun. In fact, I myself am not interested. It's none of my business. Let's see some more down-to-earth application. In fact, every single day we are using induction to make decisions. The closest application people use every single day is, for example, COVID. For example, stock market speculation. For example, deciding what career you want to do. For example, to buy Bitcoin or not. To start what kind of business you want to start. All these decisions we always use induction. So, for example, talking about COVID. So people often have to make decisions to take vaccine or not, to wear masks or not, to send your kids to schools or not, to believe the government or not, to decide whether this is a conspiracy theory or not, to decide COVID whether it is fatal, whether it's deadly or actually it's just a mere flu. So all this, we have to make a decision. How do we make it? So obviously we observe people who have already gotten COVID. We see whether he or she has some symptoms. What kind of symptoms? How many people who got COVID eventually die. All these things, right, are actually specific instances. And then we are going to extrapolate. For example, let's say among 100 people who got COVID, only one died. We can extrapolate using induction and conclude that, it is probably not 100 people. Let's say 10,000 people, only one died. You can extrapolate and say it's just a probability of 0.01%. Maybe it's not too high. Maybe I need to worry less. Likewise, for stock market speculation, you often study companies' profiles. and their past performance for the last 3 years, their business performance, their CEOs, whether they are well performing. Then you decide, you extrapolate. But the problem with all these examples, right, this is exactly why David Hume is concerned about this problem. Because we all know, if we use pure logic, unlike mathematics, we use pure logic, there's no reason, even for the past 10 years, let's say a company performs, for the past 10 years, let's say a company performs so spectacularly well, there is still no certainty that tomorrow or next year, nothing will happen. One classic example is, I'm not too sure not many people know, I think in 1995 or actually in early 2000, there was a company called Enron in United States. It's an oil company. And then Enron company has been performing so well until one day there was an accounting scandal being exposed. In fact, the entire past few years of Enron's accounting are actually fraud done by an accounting firm called Chris Anderson. And then within that few weeks and even few months, Enron scandal actually brought the entire company down and become bankrupt. So that was a really jaw-dropping, astounding event that proved induction doesn't work in real life, because all the past 10 years showed that Enron is such a spectacular company, highly reliable, you must buy its stock. But if you are unlucky and bought the stock at that moment, the scandal moment, maybe 1 week before the scandal, you will quickly encounter huge bad luck and lose all your money. And likewise for COVID, we don't really know by when there will be new variant, will be more deadly. If you just follow the data, you might be mistaken. So this is where why David Hume is concerned about this. It shows that induction, past data affirmation is quite precarious. It is not as rigid, as rigorous as it sounds. And in fact, if we really go crazy, right, in our daily life, right, we can even, if we believe empiricism, if we believe data so well, right, I could say that yesterday I did not die, the day before yesterday I did not die either, for the past 29 years I did not die, I have not been dying, and therefore we can extrapolate and say I will be immortal. For the next 1,000 years I will not die, because the past data seems to be affirming that I am not a person who is prone to death. Of course, that is nonsense, you all know, because you can also look at other past data. You can look at other people who are slightly older, they happen to die. You can use those data to support the fact that you are not immortal. You will die one day. So this is a problem I'm very interested about, and unfortunately it's philosophy, it's not like physics, it's not mathematics. There's no solution. The closest solution one could get is a solution suggested by another science philosopher called Karl Popper. So Popper suggested that confirmation is largely a fraud, data is largely a fraud. We can never be sure what is correct. However, we can always be sure what is wrong. Not always, but largely, substantively, it is easy to be sure what is wrong. So Popper believed it is much meaningful to do disconfirmation than confirmation. So disconfirmation, in disconfirmation, you try to find out what is wrong, you rule them out, you discard them. So for example, there are lots of examples in science. I'm running out of time limit. Perhaps I will continue tomorrow to give you some example of disconfirmation by Popper. So I'll stop here. See you.